Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Quick, which is more dangerous, the thing that kills 50,000 Americans every year, or the thing that kills 50? Your brain says the first one, obviously. The data says you're dead wrong. Heart disease kills 700,000 people annually, but you're not terrified of cheeseburgers. Shark attacks kill about 10 people worldwide per year, but millions of people are genuinely afraid of the ocean. Your brain cannot do the math, so you worry about the wrong things and ignore the actual threats. And here's the kicker. The people selling you fear products and policies, they know your brain works this way, and they're counting on it. You're not bad at math. You're operating with Stone Age hardware in an information age world. And that gap between your intuition and reality, it's being weaponized every single day. Let me show you how to fight back. Now here's what's happening. You can instantly tell the difference between 3 apples and 30 apples. But a million and a billion, they both just feel like really big numbers. Research from OECD. Now, OECD is the organization. We're going to start over. Kind of fumbled it there. Okay. So here we go. I am going to give you some silence, and then I'll do the countdown again. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quick, which is more dangerous? The thing that kills 50,000 Americans every year, or the thing that kills 50? Your brain says it's the first one, obviously. The data says you are dead wrong. Heart disease kills 700,000 people annually, but you're not terrified of cheeseburgers. While on the other hand, shark's attack kills about 10 people worldwide per year, but millions of people are genuinely afraid of the ocean. Your brain cannot do the math, so you worry about the wrong things and ignore the actual threats. And here's the kicker. The people selling you fear products and policies, they know your brain works this way, and they're counting on it. You're not bad at math. You're operating with Stone Age hardware in an information age world. And that gap between your intuition and reality is being weaponized every single day. Let me show you how to fight back. Here's what's happening. You can instantly tell the difference between 3 apples and 30 apples. But a million and a billion, they both just feel like really big numbers. Research from OECD. Now, OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Basically, it's the organization that's looking at the economic issues and indications and how to help developed and developing countries improve. Now, what OECD found was that numerical literacy skills are collapsing across developed countries. Over half of American adults can't work with numbers beyond a 6th grade level. We've become a society that can calculate tips, but can't spot when we're being lied to with statistics. And I'm going to be blunt. If you cannot think proportionally in 2025, you are flying blind. Now let's fix that right now. Okay, stop everything. I'm going to change how you see numbers forever. 1 million seconds is 11 days. So if you count out a million seconds, it equals 11 days. Now take a second. Feel that? 11 days ago, that was a million seconds. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. A billion seconds ago, it was 1994. Bill Clinton was president. The internet was just getting started. That's how far back you have to go. Now here's where it gets wild. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. 31,000 years. A trillion seconds ago, humans had not invented farming yet. We were hunter-gatherers painting on cave walls. So when you hear someone say, what's the difference between a billion and a trillion? The difference is the entire span of human civilization. This isn't trivia. This is the key to seeing through manipulation. Because when a politician throws around billions and trillions in the same sentence like they're comparable, now you know they're lying to your face, banking on you not understanding scale. Here's the trick they use on you constantly, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. A supplement company advertises, our product reduces your risk by 50%. Sounds incredible, right? You must buy immediately. But here's what they're not telling you. If your risk is something was 2 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 10,000, that's technically a 50% reduction. But your actual risk only dropped by 0.01%. Not 50% reduction, your actual risk only dropped by 0.01%. They just made almost nothing sound like everything. Or flip it around. This causes a 200% increase in risk. That's terrifying. Except if your risk went from 1 in a million to 3 in a million, you're still almost certainly fine. But this is how they play you. They show you percentages when absolute numbers would expose them. They show you raw numbers when rates would destroy their argument. So what's your defense? 3 words. Per what exactly? 50% of what baseline? A 200% increase from what starting point? That denominator is where the truth hides. And once you start asking this, you see the manipulation everywhere. Okay, now let's do this together right now. We're going to catch a lie in real time. I'm going to show you a real manipulation pattern I see constantly. Headline: 4 out of 5 dentists recommend our toothpaste. Now that sounds pretty convincing, right? Let's apply what we just learned. First, per what? 4 out of 5 of how many dentists? If they surveyed 10 dentists and 8 said yes, they're technically 80%. But that's meaningless. Second, what was the actual question? Turns out they asked dentists to name all brands they'd recommend, not which one was best. So 80% mentioned this brand along with 7 other brands. Third, what's the scale? There are 200,000 dentists in the US. In this case, they surveyed 150. So that's 80% of 0.075% of all dentists. So see how fast that falls apart? That's the power of asking per what. Now let's talk about something also that I want to cover here. It's what I call the exponential trap. This is where your intuition doesn't just fail, it catastrophically fails. And it's costing people everything. So grab a piece of paper, fold it in half. Now it's twice as thick, no big deal. Fold it again, 4 times, okay? Now keep going. Most people think if you could fold it 42 times, maybe it would be tall as a building. No. If you folded it 42 times, it would reach the moon from Earth to the moon. Get that? That's exponential growth. And your brain is not wired to comprehend it. Here's why this matters in actual life. You get a credit card with a $5,000 on it at 18% interest. And you think, oh, I'll just pay the minimum. I'll catch up eventually. Your brain treats this like a linear problem. It is not. It is an exponential problem. That 5,000 becomes 10,000 faster than you can possibly imagine. And then it's 20,000, and suddenly you are drowning in debt. Or retirement. Starting to save at 25 versus 35 doesn't feel like a huge difference. 10 years, whatever. But exponential growth means that 10-year head start could be worth 2 to 3 times more money when you turn 65. When you hear doubles every, or grows by X%, or compounds, stop. Your intuition just became your enemy. You don't need a calculator to spot these lies. You need a sanity check that takes 10 seconds. And I'm going to give you the fastest BS detector I know. Round brutally. 47 million becomes 50 million. 8.7% becomes 10%. Precision is the enemy of speed. Find the zeros. Is this thousands, millions, or billions? Get the ballpark right first. Do the rough math. That's 7% of 50 million. Well, 10% of 50 million is 5 million. So 7% is about 3.5 million. Done. Close enough to catch the lie. Smell test it. Someone claims, I don't know, we've seen this all the time online. Someone claims a new app has billion users after launching just a month. That's 1 in 8 humans on Earth. Really? I use this every single day now, this using a proportionality and scale. News articles, social media posts, advertisements, 10 seconds, and I know if someone's lying to me. You're not trying to be exact. You're trying to do the unfoolable. Now, before we go any further, let me save you from 3 traps I see people fall into. First, don't become a conspiracy theorist who distrusts all numbers. Sometimes 50% really is 50%. The goal is healthy skepticism, not paranoid cynicism. Second, don't weaponize this to win petty arguments. Actually, you didn't do 50% of the dishes. Nobody likes that person. And third, don't assume you're now immune to manipulation. These are tools, not shields. Stay humble. Smart people don't get fooled all the time. They just recover faster. So let's put this all together. Let me show you how to use these 4 techniques working as a system. So, a tech company announces, we've tripled our user base to 3 million, growing 200% annually, and we have reduced our customer complaints by 90%. Wow, sounds like a great company. Well, let's walk through this. Scale check, 3 million users. In social media, that's tiny. Instagram has 2 billion. Context matters. Per what? Triple the scale starting from what? If you went from 50,000 to 3 million, that's actually 60x growth. Why understate it? Why did they put it in that context the way they did? And a 90% reduction of customer complaints from how many? 10 to 1? Who cares? Exponential check. 200% annual growth is explosive and unsustainable. What happens when they hit market saturation next quarter? So a quick estimate. If they have 3 million users and the market is 300 million potential users, they have captured 1%. Still lots of room for growth or lots of room for competitors. Now, think back, see how that stacks up. What sounded really great at the beginning, when you peel the onion, you get the correct context. Okay, in a second, we're going to pause this video. I'm serious, I want you to pause it. Before we do that, open your news app or your social media feed on your phone. Look at the first 3 posts with numbers in them. Now, run them through the test. What's the scale? Per what? Is it exponential? Does it pass the smell test? Got it? So, let's run them through it again. What's the scale? Per what? What is exponential? Does it smell the smell test? I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Go. Done? Did you find manipulation? I bet you found at least one. Comment below what you discovered. I generally want to know what you're seeing out there. Now, let me tell you what just happened. You learned 5 techniques, but you actually learned something bigger. You learned that your intuition about numbers is systematically broken, and people in power know it, and they will exploit it. Remember the opening? The reason you're more afraid of sharks than heart disease isn't random. Media companies know fear drives clicks, and rare dramatic events trigger your brain differently than common statistical threats. So they show you the sharks, not the cheeseburgers. They're not smarter than you. They're just counting on you not checking the math. When entering an era of AI-generated stats, algorithmic manipulation, and deepfake data, your ability to think numerically, to think proportionally, isn't just about making better decisions anymore. It is about knowing what is real. The people who can't tell a million from a billion or a trillion will be led by people who can. And those people, they're fine with you staying confused. So what are you going to be? The one doing the math or the one getting played? If you want to keep sharpening these skills, this is episode 7 in the Thinking 101 series. Each episode gives you another tool for thinking clearly in a world designed to confuse you. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if this changed how you see numbers, share it. Someone in your life needs this. Choose today. Again, thank you for being here. The next episode coming up is episode 8. It discusses mental models. These are the invisible frameworks that determine whether you're stuck using a hammer as your tool or working with the full toolkit. Now, if you're jumping in mid-series, go back and start from the beginning. These episodes build on each other, and by the end, you'll have a complete system for thinking clearly in a world designed to make things unclear, I guess is the best way to say it. Links in the full series are in the description or over in the show notes at killerinnovations.com. And if this changed again how you see numbers, hit that like button. It helps more people find us. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any episodes. I'm Phil McKinney, and thanks for joining me today. Keep thinking, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.